fencing. But right now, on the line with me, Dr. Denise Bouah. Denise, fantastic to have you on the line.
Thank you, JP. It's lovely being here.
Yeah, so it's the first time for us to chat with you. A few weeks ago, we had a conversation with Dr. Debbie Alexander. So many doctors, so much psychology. Let's start off at the beginning. Sports psychology for children. How did you come up with that idea?
JP, it's something that has been on my mind for quite a long time. And actually, before I started with my PhD, it bothered me that we are losing such a huge amount of talented young athletes. And my passion is, I've combined literally my passion for children, for sport, and for psychology into one. And I think it's very important that we equip our young athletes with the skills that they need to process on an emotional level what they are going through on a physical level on the field or on the court, to make that sport experience fun for them and something that they might want to persist in.
I mean, you're the expert, but I mean, you've obviously written this book because you know that there's a need for it. Do you think that in general, maybe there's a perception that we think that high performance or sports psychology is only for adults?
Yes, I do think so. And mainly because when you reach a certain level of sport participation and become involved on a certain level, it's most of the times is when you get older that it gets more intense. And then athletes tend to then shift to realizing, but actually the emotional component is important. And I think it's not just something that and I'm an athlete myself, I'm aware of, but I think also coaches and parents, we take the mental side more serious sometimes later on in life. And I think that's a perception that we should change. And I think we should teach our youngsters because it gives them time to develop a personal repertoire for dealing with all the pressure and anxiety and all the other challenges that sport experience brings along. So I'm hoping that we can instill in our youngsters already the importance of mental preparation.
Do you think there's been a bit of a history, or probably even still a history of parents or teachers saying, suck it up, just get on with it?
Yes, I think so. I've seen it. I've also experienced it as a younger athlete. And sometimes I think tough love is good, but not always. I think it's important to know your athlete. Sometimes you know, a parent or coach might say, you know, just suck this one up. But it's in the way that you give that information through. You also need to couple that at least with something that is supportive. So hopefully, you know, we need to become more sensitive towards the feelings and the emotions of the children, so that it's not maybe a bad sport experience is not just something that you need to suck up. It's a opportunity for children to learn from and to improve technique and improve skill and improve emotional, how can I say, an emotional experience of that situation. So it should rather be a learning curve than just, you know, just suck it up experience.
So how does that work? I mean, I think probably people that are watching now will understand what you're saying, but how does one begin to apply this? I mean, how do you wake up in the morning and go, hang on, I've got to think differently. I've got to, obviously, I think if we read your book, maybe all the tips is in the book. But for folks that maybe are watching now and they're thinking, I want to apply this, I see the logic in it. How do you wake up in the morning and treat things differently? What do you do?
You know, I think mental preparation is a lifelong journey. You don't just wake up one morning and know all the skills and the techniques. You read one book and with your next sport competition, you rock up there and you deal with things perfectly. That would be an idealistic view. So, you know, at the moment, my experience has been over time and in conversation with other sports psychologists as well, is that we normally get roped in when things are not going well or a day before a team has to leave. And then you have to perform some miracle for the team to suddenly be mentally prepared.
Yeah.
And I think we need to change that mindset of people that it's a process and it's a journey. Because some of the skills and techniques are things that you must try out for yourself because not everything works for everybody. And you need to find your own, for example, cue words or trigger words that can help you in a situation. You need to practice controlling your breathing. You need to practice being calm in a situation. You can get up one morning and decide this is what I'm going to do, and then you start practicing those things and incorporate it into your life as an athlete. That is very important. Everybody starts somewhere, but you can't be too hard on yourself to expect of yourself to know everything just on day one. It takes reading and it takes some practice as well.
Do we need sports psychology for all children or only high performance children?
I think everybody can benefit from it. The other thing is also with children, you can't be sure which child will really walk the distance all the way to the top. Sometimes it can be the athlete that nobody's really expecting anything from, but that's the athlete that is resilient and that is willing to keep working at his or her craft. And at the end of the day, that's the athlete that wins your nationals. That I've seen. So that's why I think it's very important that we teach this and we approach all our learners and our young children with sports psychology principles so that they can learn it from a young age, because as adults, you don't know who will really make it to the end for whatever reason. So I think it's not just for high performance. By the time a child reaches a higher performance level, you actually want that child to have all these things in place. Maybe not at a perfect level, but at least know some of the things, and it's not something completely new to them.
Is it also relevant for children? I mean, can you find the link for children that are maybe not doing sport, that the same psychology would apply for children with other challenges, but they maybe not, like you say, on the field or on the court?
Yes, JP, definitely. We all perform in various different areas of our lives. I've worked with pianists, children that are doing music, and they need to do a performance on stage, and they're struggling with anxiety. It's a performance domain. It's a performance domain when a child has to do an oral in front of class, because they put on the spot and they have to do their best, they have to perform, and they don't want to disappoint themselves or the people that are in the audience. And as an athlete, you have an audience.
Yeah.
So it's not just in that in a sport domain. Children can play with friends in the neighborhood, and in that interaction, you're going to have some sports psychology principles of being fair, of being loyal, which are also principles and values that we should have actually in the broader scheme of life as well. So sports psychology, what I like about it, is a very positive field, and you are in a position to teach techniques and skills and give knowledge to every person that actually takes the time and effort to learn more about it, and they can apply that in any area of their life.
Denise, this is a topic that we could carry on talking about for long. On a final note, the book itself, Sports Psychology for Children, where can we buy it? How do we get our hands on this book?
People can contact me directly. I'm selling it. And my email address is denise.ldbooks@gmail.com. It's a book company that's selling it, and I can be contacted directly on that specific email handle. And if it's in Cape Town, I will deliver the book to you. And if it's not in Cape Town, then I will just courier it. So people can contact me on that email address, and then we can see what we can do, what the best way is to get the book to the person.
All right, Denise. Well, I'm very much looking forward to reading the book myself, and I think it's a fantastic book. And your workshop with the Western Cape Provincial Sport Confederation Women and Girls Commission was absolutely amazing. There were so many positive comments that came out of that, and I think that your contribution has been fantastic. And I look forward to reading the book.
Thank you, JP. I appreciate it.
There we go, folks. Dr. Denise Bouah, author of the book that's just come out, Sports Psychology for Children. Do yourself a favor, get your hands on this book. It's an absolute must, and it's fantastic to find out that we have a focus on sports psychology for children. If you want to get a hold of Denise directly, you can just email to denise.ldbooks@gmail.com. That's denise.ldbooks@gmail.com, and she'll make arrangements for you to get your hands on that book. Certainly looking forward to reading it myself. When I come back from the break, folks, we're going to take more of a look at the world of sport in the Western Cape. Back in a sec.